Hello, welcome everyone to Tips with Tip Tuesdays. Sorry, we renamed these live trainings. Tip Tuesdays with myself, Coach Kayla. Hope you guys are having a great start to your week. It's only Tuesday, but that's okay. It certainly feels like it should be Friday. I don't know if anybody else is feeling that way. Um, but yeah, what is going on this week? Um, same old here, not much here, just trying to get through summer training. It has been hot out there, so hopefully you guys are doing okay and are doing okay training and getting through your runs, without any issues. I know it's been hot out there, and it's been hot out there for a lot of you. So if you did miss, if you missed some, missed my past trainings, I have talked a lot about hydration. We're not going to talk too much about hydration today, but just another reminder, make sure you are drinking water. We're doing a hydration challenge in this group because it has been a very hot month. So make sure you are drinking enough water, and also getting those electrolytes in. So if you are here, before we get started, let me know. Say hey, I want to know you're here. If you are new, welcome. Thank you for being here. Just make sure to click that link above me, since I'm going live using StreamYard, and allow StreamYard to show your name to show up. If you would like to know who you are, like me to know who you are, then please do. If you don't, you can always just comment your name as well. That works as well. So I can see who you are, who's on. Let me know. And then if you're just watching this on replay, that's perfectly fine. This video will be up for replay. Just post below replay. And yeah, we will get started very soon. As I said, if you are new here and you don't know who I am, my name is Coach Kayla. I'm a registered dietitian and personal trainer. As well as an online plant-based dietitian, nutrition, run coach, and I help plant-based runners to feel and fuel for mostly marathons. So if you're any endurance athlete as well. So if you're here, hopefully you are an athlete, hopefully you are an endurance athlete, and also plant-based. So today we're going to be talking about fats, fueling on fats. This is something that I feel like gets overlooked. I will say not a lot of my clients struggle getting enough fats, but I have had clients in the past as well that have tried a plant-based low-fat diet, and we did run into issues of training. And it is important to make sure you get enough fats for training. And when I design a meal plan, and when I when I figure out their exchanges, and how many grams of carbs, are really talking about our macronutrients, right? Our carbs, uh carbs, protein, and fats. What you want to have is around 20 to 35% of your total calories should be around fats. And if you are following a low fat diet or a low fat plant based diet, then most likely you are not getting enough fats. And we do need to make sure we're eating enough fats for fueling. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Let me know if you guys are here, if you are ready for today's training, and we will get started very soon. Awesome, awesome. All right. So let's start first with the function of fats. So what do fats do? Why are they important? Why should we be eating fats? Hello, welcome. Thanks for being here. So fats are important. Fats have a lot of functions. One of the functions that I think we overlook a lot is fats help absorb our nutrients. And if you're plant based because you care about your health and you want to be eating more nutrients to fuel your body, to feel good, then you do want to make sure you are eating fats, because fats help, especially those fat soluble vitamins, which is why they're called fat soluble vitamins, because fat helps absorb those vitamins. So that is one. Two, it also protects our organs. So that's also very important. For women, fats are important for hormone production. So when you have actually low body fat, that can be dangerous, especially, or well, I should say yeah, dangerous and harmful, and maybe not a good consequence if you are trying, if your baby make, that baby making age, and trying to get pregnant, you may have a hard time if you don't have um, enough fat on your body. So even fat, physical fat on our bodies is good, and some dietary fats in our diet is good too. And I want to talk about today as well about the types of fats, so we can really talk more about that and dive deeper into that, so you don't feel like, nervous or fear fats, because you shouldn't fear fats, because as I said, we do need them. There is a function. In relation to running, fats do give us some energy as well. So fats do give us energy and fuel for running. So carbohydrates are, of course, our main fuel, but also fats help as well. So you may have heard, eat banana with an almond butter, or have toast with a nut butter, right? Those nut butters are fats. So fats do help us fuel for runs as well. So that's another thing as well. So let's talk about the types of fats. So we know there are good fats and there are bad fats. So our good fats are our mono and polyunsaturated fats. Our bad fats are known as our saturated and trans fats. And I don't usually like to say good or bad. There's no such thing as good or bad foods. But with fats, unfortunately, there are fats that we do really want to limit in our diet or totally avoid as well, because they are not good for our hearts. So, mono and polyunsaturated fats, those are found in a lot of our nuts and our seeds, our oils. So, a lot of these whole food sources of fats are going to come from those good fats. Our saturated and trans fats, those are fats that are mostly going to come from red meat, fried foods, and that's why they're kind of known, right, as these foods to stay away from. Of course, if you like fried foods, right, you could have them in moderation, or try air frying, right? There's other ways that we can prepare things that still give ourselves the same satisfaction, but maybe in a healthier version to help protect our hearts, because our hearts and our heart health is very important, right? We need our heart. Our heart is one of the main organs to keep us alive, right? If your heart's not working, then you are not alive. So if you want to stay alive, you should want to take care of your heart. So those are the types of fats, and we do want to eat more of those uh, mono and polyunsaturated fats that we want to eat more of. Okay. Yay, good fats. Yes, good fats. Let's see. Okay, so foods. Let's talk about food. So what are some foods that would categorize into these? We'll start with whole foods. Okay, so if you're somebody that's whole food plant-based, then most of your fats are going to come from whole sources. What that means is it's in its whole form and not broken down. So a good example is olives. Olives would be the whole form. Olive oil would not be the non-whole form. So those that are whole foods, plant-based, want to eat, right, those olives and not necessarily the oil. And that's because it is broken down a little bit, right? So there's a different composition of it. But that's not to say that I don't want to say oils are bad. I think with oils, the biggest issue is that we can overuse them. So we just want to be careful about the amount that we use, and we don't need very much, because we do have to remember that carbs and protein are 4 grams per kilogram, a body weight of, yes, kcals per gram. But oil or fats are 9 grams per kilogram. So per kcal. So they are they are higher. So you do want to consider that if you're trying to increase your calories. Fats are a really easy way to, right, add in some of those calories. But if you're trying to lose weight on the other side, right, you may want to try to limit more of those fats. But as I said, whole food sources, or in their whole complete form, right? Like olives, right? Instead of olive oil, or eating a coconut instead of coconut oil, those kind of things. Um, so that's that. And then oils. So I do get asked a lot about oils. And as I said, I don't think all oils are completely bad. I think if you use them in moderation, it depends on, if you're trying to lose weight, gain weight, that kind of thing. But I do find when I'm trying to put a meal plan together, and I figure out, how much more calories, yeah, but also carbs and protein that somebody needs based on their training needs or their training schedule. We have to adjust fats to meet the calories. And a lot of times that fat will be 30% of the total amount of calories that are intaking. So it can seem like a lot. So with oils, there's different types of oils that are better than others, depending on the use of it. Olive oil is great for salads. So anything that's not hot, for anything that you do cook with, or you do add some oil in because you do like the taste of it, it's a good idea to use like avocado or grapeseed oil. Coconut oil, I mainly just use for baking, and that's because coconut oil does have some saturated fat. So there are other components of coconut oil that's obviously nutritionally dense, so it's better than as well, better than uh, actual fat and lard. That's how I was taught, to make cookies and cakes and these kind of baked goods. Now we can use coconut oil, to substitute that, which makes them plant-based. But again, there is still some saturated fat in that coconut oil. So if you are somebody that has heart disease, or has a family history of heart disease, that might be something you just want to be careful, with eating those sweets if they are made with coconut oil, even if they're plant-based. We still want to eat those things moderately. And I'd suggest, yes, to use, if you do cook with any oil, try avocado or grapeseed oil, but use very little if you do. If you're trying not to use any oils, you can try, uh, you can use water to cook with, and you can also use broth. Vegetable broth works really well too to cook for veggies and things like that. And just make sure that you have, like, a non-stick pan. That's really all you need, and you should be fine. I also to bake with, if I do bake my veggies or roast my veggies, I just use parchment paper, aluminum foil. Sometimes it sticks, but for the most part, it works pretty well. Um, and I do use coconut oil just like I would actually lard and fat, that I used to do, to grease the pan. I'll use coconut oil. You could also use uh, like a cook spray, so to prevent it from sticking as well. Hi, Meg. Thanks for joining. Um, and then what else? So yeah, so amounts, you do want to be careful with amounts. They can add up really fast, again, because they are 9 grams per kilogram. So fats can add up very fast for the amount. So just be careful about that. If you're not sure how much fats to eat, that's something that I can help you with, with the serving sizes, because that does get tricky. As we know, a serving size of nuts, almonds are good for us, right? We know almonds are good for our heart. But a serving size is only a quarter cup. That doesn't mean you're only allowed to have a quarter cup, but it is good to know, like, okay, how many servings of this should I be having a day so I don't go over my fat limit? So that is something to consider. I know where athletes do, or with some of my clients have gotten in a little bit of trouble with this fat thing, is hummus. That's one, because that's used with olive oil. So if you're somebody that can, really likes hummus, that can be something that we can tend to overeat, as well as avocados. Obviously, you could call it a fruit, a vegetable, a healthy fat. Avocados are just known for, right, having these good fats. So avocados, I don't want to say you can overeat them, because they're not something that's terrible for you. But if you're concerned about not wanting to eat too much fats, you do want to be careful with avocados a little bit as well. And something why I like to bring that up about avocados is that July 31st is actually National Avocado Day. So if you love avocados, make sure to have a avocado on July 31st. What else? Other than that, I guess, does anybody have any questions? So Meg said, I never thought about the oil in hummus. Yes, oh yes. And that's why I mentioned that, because, those that, trying to eat more whole foods, if you don't realize there's oil in it, or if you're like, oh, this is healthier, you're trying to make that transition. You're like, oh, hummus is, healthier. It's got some protein in it. Other than your other vegetable dip you used to do that had dairy in it. Yes, it's healthier, but right, we do want to remember, well, it does have oil in it, so we do want to be mindful of how much hummus we're eating as well. And you can make hummus without oil. I know I have had clients do that. They're like, I don't use any oil. I just mash up chickpeas and that's my hummus. So you can make hummus yourself. I do use tahini and olive oil. So tahini is a nut, so sesame, made out of sesame seeds. And usually when I buy it, there is a lot of oil on it. So there is oil in that as well. And usually when they make hummus, they use tahini. But as I said, you can just, mash up chickpeas and make hummus that way as well. Michael. Hi, Michael. Does the metabolism of fats change with age? That's a really great question. I don't know. I will have to do some research and let you know about that. Um, I've never heard about anything, but that doesn't mean that it's true. There's also a lot of myths out there, so that's something I really have to, I would say, look up to just be sure about that. But I do know, in general, not necessarily fats, in general, our metabolism does slow down as we age. So that is something that, we do want to consider when we get older. So when I calculate someone's total nutrition needs, usually the older they are, it's usually lower. Now, with that, exercise does give you a little bit more, right? So it gives you, if we think calories in, calories out, we know it's much more than that. There's a much bigger picture than that. But when we are talking about calories in, calories out, right, when we exercise, we know that gives us a little more leeway for calories to have a little bit more, right, than if we could just based on our total energy needs. But I do know, when you calculate those nutrition needs, they do take that into consideration in the formulas that we use. We do take age in consideration, and that's why, because your metabolism in general does slow down. Yeah. So, any other questions about fats, fueling with fats, types of fats? Where are you guys at? Are you trying to, transition more to whole foods and eat more whole food fats? Do you think you're not getting enough fats? Do you think you eat too much fats? What do you guys think? To One thing that I didn't mention about as well is fats. We also want to, when I talk about fats, we should actually also talk about omegas. Omegas are something that are harder to get if you are plant-based, and you do want to get your omega-3s and your omega-6s. So you may want to supplement. I've actually started doing this because the only really source I realized that I was getting my omegas was from flaxseed and chia seeds. So those are two things that I always try to have, either in my oatmeal or in my smoothies, but I haven't been doing my oatmeal or smoothie all the time. So I kind of change up my breakfast. So sometimes when I have something else, when I just have, a bagel, I was trying to just eat like a spoonful of flaxseed and realized I can't, I can't do this. This is really hard. So what I decided, I was like, you know what, just have a supplement. So on those days that I know that I'm not getting my omegas, I can make sure that I'm getting my omegas in my supplement. So I started actually taking complement. Started taking that. So I have that. I also still use my vitamin D and B12 sprays. So say I do get my omegas, I do have my flax and my chia seeds like in my smoothie or in my oats. then what I do is I usually just use the sprays on those days. So I kind of alternate it. But I do, it is important to make sure that you are getting your omegas. So I do want to mention that because that is, I do count seeds as fats, but they are good fats. As I said, we do want to make sure to get your omegas, and it is harder to get your omegas if you're plant-based. So many of you may have been told by your doctor in the past, they often say to take fish oil, and that is why. To get your omegas, say you're not somebody that likes fish, right? They may say, well, just take fish oil. But really, you can just take, chia and flaxseed. But as I said, it's not easy to take those, especially if you just try to take a spoonful. So you kind of want to mix it in something, if you do, or take a supplement. Works as well. Hi, Sophia. Thanks for joining. We are just talking about fats and fueling. So I just went over omegas, and we also talked about the function of fats, the types of fats, the different sources, and some food examples of fats. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So so pretty much, I don't know how many I actually don't think I went over that many examples. But I said avocados, hummus, right? Olives, our seeds would be our chia and flax seeds. Hemp seeds are also good and have some protein in them as well. So a lot of these things too, you might think like, oh, I thought that was protein, but they actually count as fats. But they do have some protein in them. So chia, flax seeds, nuts, you could do so many nuts, right? Almonds, walnuts, peanuts, so many nuts, seeds, and then also, right, as I said, your hummus, your avocados, what else counts as a fat? If you use vegan butter, that would count as a fat. Any oils that you use also count as fats. Olives, yes, Sophia, yes, olives would be count as a fat as well. So I would count all of those foods, I would count as fats. So if I'm, creating a meal plan and creating exchanges for somebody, I would count all of those foods I just listed as a healthy fat, even though, right, you could say olives are, I guess you could say they're a vegetable, right? You could say avocado is a fruit. But that's how I characterize those, based on their nutritional value. And especially as eating a plant-based meal plan, that's why I count those things as fats. So any other questions? So I guess I'll just quickly kind of review here, for I know some of you just are joining me. So as I said, we talked about the function. So it's very important that we make sure we're getting enough fats, because fats give us some energy. They do help us fuel for our running or our sport. They also help absorb fat-soluble vitamins and nutrients. So it's important to also get fats that way, or because of that. And then also fats help, what did we say? Fats help cushion and protect our organs. And then also fats also help us to, what was it? What did we say? There was one more thing. Hormone production. So fats are also important for hormone production. Type of fats. We talked about the mono and polyunsaturated fats, which are good fats we want to eat more of. And then our saturated and trans fats, we want to eat very minimally, or a little at all. Trans fats you really want to limit, or I should say you really want to not have any of that, any trans fats. But oh no, I don't know why that happened. Looks like my video didn't connect or disconnected from one of my pages. That's okay. Hopefully I'm still live here. So what was I saying? So with fat, or with anyways, we'll just move on. So the types of fats. So trans fats are the fats that you want to try to eat none at all. Saturated fats you do want to limit. I will say that some of processed, like plant-based burgers, they do have some saturated fat in them. We talked about coconut oil, which also has saturated fat, so you do just want to be mindful of that. The dietary guidelines do say to just eat less than 10% of total calories from fats, or from saturated fats. So just be mindful of how much fats you're eating. Foods, we talked about whole versus non-whole, right? And getting most of our fats from whole, which we want to do, and limit more from the oils because it's more processed. But oils are not bad if you do use oils. It also just depends on where you are, in your plant-based journey. Are you trying to lose weight? Are you trying to gain weight? Are you training for a marathon, right? It just kind of all depends as well. I've been trying to use less oil, but I still use some oil because, that's sometimes the easiest way to get in some of my fats because I'm training. So I don't eliminate all oil. And what else did we talk about here? Oh, National Avocado Day. So National Avocado Day is July 31st. So also wanted to mention that. So if you love avocados, make sure to eat avocados on July 31st. Any other questions? All right, cool. Well, thank you everybody for joining me tonight. One more thing as well, just an announcement before I go, is if you are interested, and we've talked about this a little bit before, if you're not sure or you don't remember me talking about this before, I created a program for you guys, a group program that would offer you support and guidance in nutrition and fueling and really give you everything you need to be able to feel confident in your fueling and nutrition to get you ready for your fall marathon. So if you're running a fall marathon, and you are plant-based and you're just not feeling confident about your fueling and your nutrition, this program is exactly for you. And I really created as well in a group setting, instead of one-on-one, in order to give you guys more support and give you more ideas from the group. Because what I've noticed, really working with, even just people one-on-one, that they really would benefit from working with others. And that's why, I still have, I created the Facebook group. I still put my one-on-one clients, connected with my other one-on-one clients. But I think this will give you a way to really get more support for those that are also just trying to learn more about how to fuel as well for the marathon. So I think it'll be really, really great to be able to connect with those. And we'll also have we'll have a nutrition training every single week up to, I think we go into, it's 90 days. So it's 18 weeks. And you'll pretty much go to October, November. So guys should be, really just going into those marathons, feeling super, super confident. We'll also talk about training. I can answer any questions, things like that. So if you guys are interested, don't delay. This is the last week to get in, so it will be closing. Enrollment is closing, but I did extend it until Thursday, so 7/29. So as I said, if you're interested, make sure to apply. Reach out to me, private message me if you are interested and want to get in. I'll also post the link below here as well to the application so you guys can learn more about the program and apply if you are interested. But I am taking 10 people. So if you are interested, definitely get in. We have about, let's see, six or seven spots left. So if you want to get in, I would love to have you guys. And if you have any questions about it, don't hesitate to reach out to me as well. So other than that, I hope you guys have a good rest of your week. And as I said, if you have any questions also about anything, I'm here for you guys as a resource. So if there's anything that I can do for you, if you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to reach out. Bye.